With decades of law enforcement experience to his credit, Mr. Keith Freeman consistently exhibited an affinity and respect for individuals in uniform. As a young boy, Mr. Freeman would play cops and robbers with his friends in the neighborhood, and each time, without fail, he secured a position as a cop. Though he appreciates these innocent memories, he considers them as his first true inspiration for pursuing a future as a police officer. Following his graduation from high school, many of the career options set before him were unappealing and ill-suited for Mr. Freeman's personality. Remembering his passion for his childhood game and the knowledge he gained over the years about policing, he resolved to embark on a professional venture as a member of the Jackson Police Department. Prior to his success, Mr. Freeman contributed to several companies as an insurance customer service representative, a food sales broker, and other odd jobs. Eventually, he enrolled at Hans Community College and obtained an Associate of Arts in 1991. For the next 29 years, he excelled in multiple positions within the Jackson Police Department and diligently served the public by upholding the peace. For the first 4.5 years, he worked as a patrolman and responded to incidents concerning domestic violence, larceny, drunk and disorderly conduct, driving while intoxicated, petty theft, and drug distribution cases, to name a few. Subsequently, he worked alongside a reputable and loyal German Shepherd as a canine handler for 6 years. Displaying a natural proficiency for these subsidiary positions, Mr. Freeman secured a promotion to sergeant and executed his responsibilities at this capacity for 13 years. Over the next 4 years, he continued to ascend the upper echelons of the administrative ladder, first as a lieutenant and finally as a commander. Currently, he retains the title of retired commander of the Jackson Police Department while also performing as the reserve deputy for the Hinds County Sheriff's Department. Regarding his passion for this line of work, Mr. Freeman has constantly been motivated by helping others experiencing strife, mentoring fellow officers, and conserving a sense of community throughout the neighborhoods in his jurisdiction. Concerning forthcoming students from the Police Academy, Mr. Freeman suggests some pointers for those looking to succeed in peacekeeping. He encourages future officers to build relationships with the people they are sworn to protect and preserve their interests while also upholding the law. Given the current social and political climate, in conjunction with their methods of training when responding to certain situations, Mr. Freeman understands that there is a fine line between effectively performing the job and potentially hurting others. For example, body camera footage acts as a beneficial and necessary tool for documentation purposes, as well as reminding officers to always remain professional when wearing their badges. Moreover, he advises new trainees to adopt the mindset of constantly keeping up to date with new laws and regulations that are introduced to effectively carry out their duties. In terms of how Mr. Freeman personally oversaw the productivity of his office as a commander, he bridged the gap between his officers and the community at large when situations became hostile. For the citizens of Jackson, he acted as a point of contact and primary informer in instances of unrest. Likewise, he oversaw the training of younger officers and became well acquainted with them, not only to familiarize himself with his employees, but also to understand their attitudes and personalities when responding to certain calls. Mr. Freeman hopes to be remembered as a man who accomplished many things, even in the face of adversity. He hopes his legacy reflects how he cared for the well-being of his charges, deputies, and subordinates, and even the men and women he incarcerated. Specifically speaking to the criminals he has apprehended, he recalls conversing with a number of them after they had been released and saw that they had recognized the errors of their ways. For Mr. Freeman, simply being recollected as an individual who cared about everyone is enough. Outside of his obligations to the police force, Mr. Freeman philanthropically contributes to his local church as a volunteer and oversees community outreach along with charitable events as the second vice president of the Jackson Police Department Association.